In a world looking for something to listen to, a group of friends rise to the challenge. It's Pop Samurai.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Madison MightyCon interview. I'm your host, Jelani Hoon. With me today from Mythica Gaming,
Jimmy Sanders.
Thank you so much for joining us. For people who don't know who you are, just in case, I mean, this game that you got going on is spreading like wildfire. Please describe who you are, what you've created here, and what you've brought to the masses here.
Thanks for having me. I'm just some random guy that loves games. That's pretty much who I am. I've created a resource management victory point card game. That's what Legends of Draxia is. I've got a whole universe that I'm building around it, which will hopefully be pretty cool. I got lots of unique worlds building, lots of unique monsters, lots of unique just gameplay. Great art on it. If you probably will be putting up a video here with some visuals and stuff eventually, you can see the beautiful art.
If you guys aren't looking at the video on YouTube for this, we're splicing together kind of a slideshow of all the pictures we're taking. Top of probably some work we're going to take off the internet as well. But amazing artwork on the cards, on detail of the cards. It looks amazing. And you've been demoing all day here. I mean, you're one of our final interviews here of the day, and you've been going strong with just demoing after demoing to people to let them know what the game is. Well, let's go back to the beginning. Back in the time machine. The beginning. Where did the concept for the Legends of Draxia come from?
Okay, so I've always been a gamer since I was 6 or 7. I started playing games. I started playing around with D&D for in early high school, late grade school, and I played through it for a long time. And I've continued playing RPGs and video games and everything you can imagine. Okay. As I finished college and I moved back to my hometown, I was feeling that I really wanted to make a game, and I decided what kind of game did I want to make. And what I decided was there's a lot of fun games out there, but when I'm trying to talk to my parents about gaming, or I talk to some other non-gamer, they have no idea what it is.
It's like, sure, okay, I understand.
Yeah, exactly. And so I wanted to create a game that was accessible to a very wide variety and sort of said, hey, this is why I game. It gives you the experience of an adventure, it gives you some fun, it gives you a little competitiveness, just a little well-rounded, fantasy-themed kind of game.
Okay.
The game I designed, I've had just actually here at MightyCon, the youngest person ever, a 5-year-old, managed to actually play with help from his brother and his mom. But he functionally played the game. He was making decisions. We were like, do you want to draw a monster or do you want to build this type of building? And he would make his decision, and the game played just fine. I would generically say it's 10 and up as the age range, just generically. But that's why I designed the game the way I did. The reason it's fantasy themed, that's what I've always loved. I've read lots of fantasy themed literature and played games like D&D, IGM all the time. And so I wanted to give a fantasy themed world and went from there. I guess we can talk about the specific mechanics in a bit if you want to talk about that. What's the next thing you want to do?
Well, I mean, we'll go into that in a second. I just want to just talked about it a little bit pre-game before we get into the game as a whole. So, I mean, you've been totally into gaming. You said, I want to create a well-rounded card game for people to play. You proved it here today. It's a very simple game to play if you're telling me that you got a 5-year-old to competently play the game. Yeah. How were you able to take it from this is the idea I got to actually being able to produce it and getting it out there to the masses?
Kickstarter has been an amazing tool for that. It's the world we live in is the ideal setting for doing something like this. Originally, it was just going to be sort of a hobby kind of thing that I was like, you know what? I back in college, I was doing a small little coded video game for like a text-based, dialogue-based RPG kind of thing. That wasn't really anything. And then when I got back, I was like, you know what? I'd like to actually do something a little bit more real with it, and sort of played around and actually had a playable game. And then the thought occurred to me that, you know what? I knew a really good artist that was a friend of mine, and I talked to him and sort of caught up with him. I hadn't talked to him for a couple of years, and at this point we've been really working close together. And so after he saw it, he was like, I want to do the art for you. And so we just sort of went in together and made it. I'm trying to think of some other things to talk about beyond just it's been a fun ride.
Fun ride. Now,
So
how much have you
put into it? Yeah. So at this point, this is the first game I've ever made. In October of 2014 is when I decided, like, hey, I'm going to actually make this particular version of the game. I was, like I said, worked on a small little dialogue box game before that, which sort of had the like underlying roots of some of this stuff, but this game is pretty much at October 2014 started it on piece of paper, scrabbling down on just like little bits of notebooks and stuff. And then from there, I had the artist start doing some art on that, refined it down. It started out as just deck of resource cards, deck of monsters, deck of buildings, and you just sort of played through and tried to get your victory points out of it. Okay. After playing through it, we sort of balanced it a little bit better, changed some of the numbers on things so it worked better. Eventually, we added in a spell deck to it, which really added nice.
Fun.
Yeah, the spell deck's great. So it helps merge the things together. So the spells that you do helps you build, helps you fight better, gives you extra points, gives you extra choices in the game. So that really rounded the game out. And then as we continued testing, it tested great, but it worked really well with gamers, but non-gamers like my parents were like, I don't really know what to do. I know how to do it. The game was easy to play, but they didn't know the right thing to do. And that's where I came up with the character card concept. Each person has their own quest, their own goal, and so every person has a unique thing that they get extra points for at the end.
Okay.
And so once that was implemented, that was put in probably around February of 2015 or so, and once those characters sort of started getting developed, it just turned the game into an amazing thing, because then I could bring it to anyone and say, hey, you don't know what the game is. Mechanically, it's easy. You go discard one sword, you deal 1 damage.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. But suddenly you got this character that says, hey, I want to kill this type of monster, or I want to build this type of building. And so you don't even need to know the game. You just look at your character and go, oh, I see that building over there. It costs this. Well, I'll just work my way to building that building. Okay. And so it helped make it accessible to non-gamers there.
Nice. And then you've been gaining a lot of traction with the game. A lot of people have been really interested in it. I mean, you've already sold your like first 1,000.
Yeah. Correct? So at this point, we launched a Kickstarter, and so the rough timeline here. Started work on it October of 2014.
Okay.
We started the Kickstarter for it in August of 2015. Okay. So 9 months from when I first started writing down on pieces of paper, I launched a Kickstarter for the game, my first ever Kickstarter. We were funded, and we manufactured in January of 2016, so this year.
Wow.
And then by about April, we were on Amazon, so we've got Amazon Prime shipping, so anywhere, any listener you've got can definitely check Amazon and get it right off there, which is great. And so since about April, we started like really running the con circuit, promoting, distributing it, and we've moved 900 of the 1,000 games so far, just hand and word of mouth, because we're just going to cons.
Wonderful stuff. I mean, you guys are slowly becoming bigger and bigger. You guys, hopefully, I mean, you're looking to expand this more and more outside of the gaming, outside of the card game.
Oh yes, very much
way.
so.
You talked to me about an idea you had about you creating and testing an actual RPG.
Yep. And so some of the stuff I'm doing right now, I've got an expansion for the game that's already lined up in around January, February of this coming year, so of 2017. We'll be launching the expansion to the game that adds a PvP player versus player element to the game.
Okay.
That intentionally was left out so as to be accessible by like 6 and 7 year olds and parents that don't really know about gaming. But the PvP puts it into that next category of you can bluff people out, you can mess with them a little bit. It gives that hardcore feel. That is great. I mean, you see people raging when you're playing through it. Like, you can just, if you twist the knife just right at the right moment, it's great.
Dude, checkmate. Here you go.
Yeah, it's checkmate. Yeah, it's just that feel.
Nice.
So that's been received very well, and like I said, we'll be putting the Kickstarter out in January, February.
Okay.
But along with that, the last year I've also been working on a custom RPG for the game universe.
Okay.
The stats of that, it's currently 20,000 words and 80 pages long. Okay. It is on our website, MythicaGaming.com.
Yes.
It's for free. I'll be writing up a one-shot play module for it for anyone that likes RPGs. Ran the one-shot at Gen Con this last month, and it went really well. Everyone loved it, and the system is working great, so I recommend checking that out.
Cool.
That helps bring out the world and all the extra depth of play. So my system has my game has things like zombies and skeletons, dragons and orcs and humanoid monsters like that.
Standard stuff.
Yeah, standard stuff. But I've actually got a very unique take on how all of that stuff comes to be and why it works. And so you start to see that a little bit in the RPG I've got. I've got some short stories and character bios that I'm going to start writing up that I've actually begun writing up, but it takes time.
Hard work.
Yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work. And so soon we'll be having a whole bunch more story and legend and lore coming out. We've got a little bit, and we'll be releasing that as the months go on.
Okay.
And so it's not just this vanilla exterior that it looks like.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And so things like the undead actually have a very unique origin story. So they're not just, they were killed and resurrected by a necromancer. That's not what my undead are.
Okay.
All of my creatures of the night have their own unique backstory that we may go into in this conversation. We'll see where the conversation leads. We'll see where it goes.
We'll follow the flow.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens. Go ahead.
And so all of my world is actually a very unique setting, but it's accessible because there's no like, here's Quagnoth or something weird monster.
Okay.
No, I don't have anything unusual, but how my stuff comes to be is unique.
Okay.
And you'll just have to see that when you start reading all my stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, the website you got, mythicagaming.com, you guys can get over there and check out the RPG you guys are making.
And the game module. In about a month or two, I'll release the one-shot module that'll have a whole bunch of pre-generated characters in there. It's 4 to 5 hour play time. So you'll need a GM and then just grab a couple people on, 2 to 6 players for the module. And you can start really getting the feel for what the world is like, not just a fun card game.
Yeah, okay, all right. Now, you've taken it, in a short period of time, you've taken it from Kickstarter, producing the card game, getting an expansion for the card game, setting up this whole world. Now you're getting an RPG put together. You're going to get these modules and all this other stuff. You're working hard, buddy. You are working hard. What is your, I guess you were living in that time now, but what does the future for Legend of Draxia hold for you? I mean, what more are you going to get? Are you going to go for?
Oh, it's hard to say. I mean, at this point, I've got I've got so many documents on my computer. I've just got a creative writing folder that I just keep adding to, and it just gets longer and longer. So from Mythica Gaming as a company, as opposed to just Legends of Draxia is my my platform that I'm beginning to launch everything from. As a company, Mythica Gaming, I plan to be releasing all sorts of things. I'm actually, from a collegiate standpoint, I'm trained as a chemist and a biologist.
Okay.
I was taught general chemistry for 5.5 years as a TA. I do science tutoring on the side all the time, so I teach high school and college students physics and math and all sorts of stuff.
Okay.
So I'm, as a company-wide, I actually have a lot of non-fantasy themed things planned.
Okay.
So I've got some educational games I plan to do as Mythica Gaming. I want to do some like chemistry tile games and maybe a physics game and just some educational stuff.
Okay.
Along with some other fantasy themed things that don't necessarily relate to the Draxia universe.
Okay.
Draxia is sort of my flagship world and really where I'm focusing all of my fantasy things into. So I've got some short stories I plan to write into it. I've maybe even a full novel. We'll see where that comes from.
So Legend of Draxia is basically, for Mythica Gaming, Legends of Draxia is kind of the legs that you're building.
Exactly. The foundation
for this company you're gonna
that I'm going to launch from. And so
go ahead.
That's fine. So I've got a whole bunch of I've got 3 or 4 expansions that sort of lined up and planned for the base card game.
Okay.
Along with I've got a couple other games that have nothing to do with the base card game, completely different mechanics, completely different play. The base card game is a competitive indirect competition resource management victory point game. I've got a cooperative cooperative in quotation marks. You're all working together, but really you're not. Kind of card game, more of a board game setup that I plan to release for Draxia Universe. I've got a arena-style combat miniatures kind of Draxia Universe game that I want to produce where you run around an arena and try to kill each other and everyone has their own character. And I've got a couple other things like that lined up. So the Draxia Universe, I've really got the RPG, I got some short stories. I could be doing this for the next decade. I could easily see.
Man. Let's go off the top.
Yeah, off topic.
Let's tangent off for a minute. Hey, for anybody out there who's like really like they're sitting at home and they're like, I'm into, let's say, gaming, for example, or I'm into some sort of thing that I want to put out there. I have an idea and I want to take it into a company. I want to do my own thing. What kind of advice do you give to someone who's really like looking to like really like go with what their
Yeah,
passion is.
and I've actually done this before. There was a local library that I was demoing the game at once, and they actually asked me back and said, hey, we'd love to have you give a talk, actually. So I've actually given a talk about how to run Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Not that I think I've got that much experience. I've done it once.
Yeah.
That being said, I was fully funded, successful, did it well, and I manufactured a success story here.
Okay.
But if you're going to try to do it yourself, I got lucky in my artist. If you're trying to make a game, for instance, that's really important. You need to go to a good artist. There's ways to get out there. I don't know the best ways to get an artist. Hope for the best. If you got the money, you can obviously pay for it. If not, run to conventions and meet people. That's actually, like I said, my friend, I hadn't been that close with him for a while. I just knew he existed. But once I showed him the game, he just wanted to be part of it. He wanted to do the art for it because he wanted to make a game. And he could do the art. So you go to conventions and find people to do the art that is going. So he owns 50% of the company. I mean, he's a 50-50 partner. He owns half that game. And that was the way that he did the art, I did the game, and we split it. So I recommend that if you don't know someone, go to conventions and find awesome artists.
Networking.
Networking is a key, most definitely. Beyond that, you just got to do it every hour. I mean, every day, put an hour in a day. I mean, just sit down and do something, whether it's going to be something amazing or whether it's not going to be used. Or, I mean, I've got a whole bunch of like I said, I got a creative writing folder that's just full of stuff. And just yesterday, actually, so I was working on some character bios for the card game in a different version of the game before this. And so I wrote up some like one paragraph character bios just for fun. And then I tabled that for over a year. I hadn't even looked at the document. And then just a little bit ago, our group was like, you know what, we need to do some like tips and tricks for each character in the game that we can release on our Facebook page to help people figure out how to play the game. And I was like, wait a minute, you know what? I've actually got character bios, just little blurbs, one paragraph things already written up. And so I just went back there and I doctored them up, touched them up. And so I actually had pre-done character bios that I wrote up over a year ago.
Past me, help me today.
Yeah, exactly. And so, even if, just a little bit of time. A little bit of time every day or at least once a week. I mean, if you just go, I'll get it done someday, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you need to eat, sleep, everything that you're trying to do. Creative writing or art or whatever it is that you're trying to have
the game design,
for,
the testing. I mean, you just need to sit down and do it. I mean, that's sort of the Edison's invention is 99 perspiration, 1% inspiration. I mean, it really is. There's from running the con circuit, what I've found is I can't hardly go to a single convention in the last 15 to 20 that I've gone to this year that I haven't found someone that says, hey, I've got a game or I've got a game idea or I'm like working on something. I can tell you I've only seen about 4 or 5 actually at the production level like mine. I mean, I've seen hundreds of games that are there. And a lot of times I talk to the people and they're great ideas and mechanically they sound really good, but they're not done. And they have the idea, but they don't follow through. And that's what you really need to do in this industry and in anything, is you need to just follow through and work on it. I don't know about any more specifics than that. I mean,
Okay, all right, that sounds, I mean, you've been living the life, buddy. You've been going after this like crazy, and I mean, it's working out for you. It seems like it's going to be a pretty prosperous road for you coming up.
Hopefully.
I mean, you got a lot more conventions coming up, right?
Yep, a lot more conventions.
Where can people find more information about Legends Draxia or Mythica Gaming? Where can they go?
So MythicaGaming.com would be the best place. It is our website that has everything you need to know. We are on Amazon, even with Amazon Prime. So those who have Prime shipping can even pick them up for free shipping, which is pretty cool to have. We've got a couple local game stores in the Midwest area that carry us. So right here we're in Madison, and the Pegasus Games in Madison carries us. Lori is a great woman that actually owns a copy of our beta game before we even produced it. There's a couple stores in Chicago that carry us. We got a store or two in Indiana that carry us.
Anything Milwaukee?
In Milwaukee, we might have one in Milwaukee. I know we got one in Oshkosh that carry us.
All right, folks, go to Mythica Gaming and all the places where you can find Mythica Gaming, and make sure you request Milwaukee, because Pop Samurai's from Milwaukee. We represent Milwaukee. We gotta get it up. We gotta get this game here because it's amazing. But anywhere else anybody can go, or anything else you want to push on the show?
I'll say we've got some, for those who are interested, we've got some Let's Play videos of it online as well. So if you want to just take a look at actually the game being played, we've got a quick, simple about 25-minute, I think, full gameplay of where we start with character selection, and then we actually play through the game of me and two of the other creators that helped create this world.
Okay.
So that'd be a quick, simple way to do it. There's also a couple people we've had just going to conventions like this, like yourself, that have done some quick interviews of us and actually done videos of us that have put up, like, here's a quick rules explanation from us.
Okay.
So it's actually really cool being able to see a couple other independent media producers that have come across us and say, "Oh, that's really cool," and actually made
your
videos.
Stuff is really cool.
Thank you.
It looks really good, and I hopefully you and I, we had a couple ideas we've shot around.
Yeah.
Hopefully that comes through. We'll see what happens. But for now, you guys head over to mythicagaming.com. His stuff is great. Find it on Amazon if you guys want to purchase it. We'll see what happens if it comes to Milwaukee or not. We'll find out.
We have been to Milwaukee already, actually. Nexus Gaming Fair in Milwaukee was back in 3-4 months ago. So that was a game convention up there. That actually was really well done. We loved that con. Milwaukee's definitely a place we plan to be back to. We just haven't had another con.
Because you guys are based out of Wisconsin.
Yeah, we're based here in Madison is where our company head is. So
so close. We're
very close
to each other. So we'll put some stuff together. We'll figure it out, and hopefully you guys get out there and really support this, because this stuff is amazing. This is one of those games that I feel like is going to go on for generations to talk about. You guys get out there, check out his stuff. We appreciate you guys coming and listening to us on PopSamuraiNetwork.com. I think that's pretty much all we come to. We come to the end of the road here for us at the moment. I don't want to keep you away from the table too long. I know people are breaking down. It's the end of the day now here. You're one of the last interviews we had. I appreciate it so much for you to come on here.
Well, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for talking about your game. It's amazing. And hopefully we'll do some more stuff in the future with you guys.
I hope too.
We'll see what happens. So thank you guys for listening to us, and hopefully you guys enjoyed all our interviews that we've had over the past however we're releasing this here at Madison MightyCon. Thank you guys for joining us, and this has been Jelani Hoon, your host, here with Mythica Gaming's
Jimmy Sanders.
Thank you so much, Jimmy, and you guys get out there by yourself. Legends of Draxia.
Will Our Heroes podcast survive? Spread the word, subscribe, and tune in next time. Same Pop Samurai time, same Pop Samurai channel.